If you've been wanting to buy a new bike this year and you're not quite sure what to look out for, we've got you covered. This video is all about the upcoming launches that you can expect to see over the course of 2026. Now in today's video, we're going to focus on petrol-powered scooters and bikes, and we'll have another video coming out soon that's all about the EVs. This new Bikes for 2026 video is powered by Nayara Energy. The promise is of assured quality and the right quantity whenever you fill at a Nayara Energy petrol pump. Now, let's begin alphabetically, starting with Bajaj and the two premium European brands that come underneath it, which is KTM and Triumph. 2026 for Bajaj will mainly be about the debut of the next generation Pulsar classic models, starting with the 125 and 150. Both these classic Pulsars are still huge sellers for the company, and these bikes will receive their biggest update in about 20 years. The changes will include pretty much everything, including a new chassis with monoshock rear suspension like we've seen on the N Pulsar models, and they will probably get new engines as well. Design-wise, we expect to see them get an evolutionary change that keeps with the now iconic Pulsar design philosophy. Expect to see these bikes ready by the festive season. In other news, all the 373cc and 399cc engines across the Bajaj-made bikes like the Pulsar NS 400, the Dominar 400, the Triumphs and the KTMs will be downsized to 350cc. This is being done to comply with the new lower tax slab in the GST 2.0 norms, and this transition should be completed by April to May of this year. It remains to be seen how the engine tune will differ between the Bajaj, Triumph and KTM models, but we'll find out soon enough. Coming to Triumph's big bike business, you can expect to see some launches like the new Trident 800 and perhaps a few units of the Street Triple RX. Moving on, we get to BMW, and I suspect that their big launch for this year could be one of the most exciting bikes that we'll end up riding in 2026. The TVS-built BMW F450 GS is going to be launched in the first months of 2026. It gets a new 420cc twin-cylinder engine which uses a rather unusual 135-degree firing order, which should result in a unique sound and feel. This engine produces 48 horsepower and 43 Nm of torque, and the bike weighs less than 180 kilos fully fueled, which means it should be fun to ride. The top models also have a clever technology where riders can shift without using the clutch, and this is likely to be something similar to what Honda has done with its e-clutch system. It will be interesting to see how BMW prices it in India, but it's fair to expect that the price will be premium. As for Classic Legends, it looks like their 2026 is going to be about scramblers. This year, Classic Legends is likely to introduce the BSA Scrambler 650, which shares its engine with the Gold Star 650 but has a more rugged appearance and uses a few different parts. Under the Yezdi umbrella, there will be a significantly updated Scrambler, which is likely to lose a good chunk of weight. Finally, Jawa has installed its updated 334cc Alpha 2 engine in nearly every model apart from the Perak and the 42 Bobber, so we could see these two bikes get an update in 2026. Moving to the very premium end of the market, Ducati has a bunch of bikes aimed at India for 2026 that use both the V2 and the V4 engine. Ducati has been busy revamping its entire middleweight lineup overseas with a new 890cc V-twin engine that now powers the next generation Monster and Hypermotard. Of the two, the Monster uses the engine in a more tame state of tune, while the Hypermotard, as the name suggests, gets a slightly more aggressive version of this engine. Both these bikes will launch in 2026 in India, and joining them as the year progresses could be the Desert X V2, which has already been showcased as a near production-ready prototype. However, it's not clear yet if the Desert X will make it to India in end 2026 or in early 2027. And now we get to another international brand that's also about big V-twin engines, but of a very different kind, Harley-Davidson. While Harley-Davidson did expand its single-cylinder lineup late last year with the X440T, it will now bring in some new big bikes into our market. Listed on their website are the 2026 Lowrider S, the Lowrider ST, and the Pan American 1250 ST. Of these, the Lowrider ST has been confirmed for launch, with the others following if the company believes that there's enough demand. The lowrider ST runs Harley's huge 1923cc Milwaukee 8 117V twin engine that produces 114 horsepower and a massive 173 Newton meters of torque. It also weighs an equally huge 323 kilos. Expect a price tag of about 30 lakh rupees ex-showroom, which will place it above the popular Fat Boy. Harley-Davidson operations in India are handled by Hero, and Hero themselves have some interesting things lined up for 2026. The Xpulse 210 Dakar, which was first shown at EICMA 2025, will launch early this year. It will have long travel suspension, a bespoke paint job reminiscent of Hero's Dakar bikes, and it will cost a little more than the standard Xpulse 210, but will give you more capability for that money. We also expect the company to introduce another 250cc model in the form of the Karizma XMR 250, which was shown all the way back in EICMA 2024. This bike shares its styling with a smaller 210 Karizma, but gets the bigger 31 horsepower engine from the Extreme 250R. Moving from India's largest two-wheeler manufacturer, we get to India's second largest two-wheeler manufacturer, Honda. Honda has quietly been working on more localized versions of its middleweight bikes in the 300 to 500cc space for India. There are multiple projects being worked on, and how many will launch in 2026 is not yet clear. But we do believe that the Rebel 300 will launch this year, and it could have a fair amount of localized content. The Rebel 300 is a low-slung bobber-style motorcycle that uses the same 286cc liquid-cooled single-cylinder engine from the CB300R. It has a low seat height of 690mm and weighs about 170 kilos. Aside from the Rebel, a 160cc adventure scooter is also a possibility this year. When it comes to the big bikes, Honda is likely to introduce the E-clutch variants of the NX500, CB750 Hornet and the XL750 Transalp in our market. As for the return of the Africa Twin 1100, it all depends on whether Honda can get it compliant with E20 fuel, which seems to have been the reason why the bike has not been available in India all this while. Finally, the gorgeous retro-style CB1000F is also a possibility for our market this year. While Honda could have a nice mix of mass and premium products for 2026, this other Japanese manufacturer will be all about the premium bikes, and that's Kawasaki. India's best bang-for-buck superbike, the ZX-10R, has been updated with fresh styling as well as some electronic and chassis revisions, and it will launch here in 2026. Hopefully, Kawasaki will give the bike a more competitive price this time around, as the ZX-10R has become a little too expensive over the last few years. Expect to see this bike go on sale in the second quarter of 2026. Somewhere around that same time is also when the KLE 500, which is Kawasaki's first new adventure bike in a long time, will come to India. Powered by the same 451cc twin-cylinder engine as the Ninja 500 and with proper dirt-capable hardware, the KLE 500 will join a growing list of sub-500cc adventure bikes in our market. But since it's likely to come here as a CBU import, expect it to be priced on the premium, like the Ninja 500 and well over 5 lakh rupees. Other Kawasaki's that could also come in next year include the updated Z900 RS Neo Retro and the Z650S Sporty Naked. After the giants of Hero and Honda, we get to the much smaller Kolhapur-based Moto House that has two launches lined up under two different brands. Moto House has two launches lined up for next year under two Chinese manufactured brands, Brixton and FB Mondial. Under Brixton will be the Store 500, which is a twin-cylinder adventure bike that produces 47.6 horsepower and is expected to cost about 5 to 6 lakh rupees ex-showroom. Moto House will also bring the FB Mondial brand back to India with the new Piega 452 that appears to use the same 450cc parallel twin engine as seen in many CF motorbikes, which makes about 48 horsepower. The Piega will stand out with its design that includes unique features like a high-mounted exhaust and a single-sided swing arm, and it is expected to launch in the first half of the year. The premium bike scene in India is looking really exciting for 2026, and one of the big reasons for that is that we'll finally have the long-awaited debut of TVS-owned Norton motorcycles. The entire new Norton model lineup will be available in India probably within the first half of the year. This includes the 1200cc V4 powered Manx Super Naked and Manx R Superbike. Norton claims that rather than just chasing high RPM peak output figures, it has focused on real-world mid-range shove with these new engines, but they still produce over 200 horsepower. Joining them will be the 585cc twin-cylinder made-in-India Atlas adventure bike duo. Local manufacturing should result in very enticing prices for these bikes that are expected to produce about 65 to 70 horsepower and weigh around 200 kilos. They also have a lot of interesting technology, including large TFT screens, adjustable suspension, and a lot more. The Norton bikes will be retailed out of a new premium dealership network that will be set up across the country. From one iconic Indian-owned British brand, we move to another, and Royal Enfield fans will have a lot to look forward to this year. After a relatively muted 2025, RE has a lot lined up for 2026. The big deal this year will be the long-awaited 750cc bikes finally going on sale, with the Continental GT-R 750 likely to be the first, followed by the Himalayan 750 towards the end of the year. Expect the new 750cc air and oil-cooled twin-cylinder engine to make somewhere about 55 to 60 horsepower and provide a noticeable step up in performance when compared to the 650s. But that's not all, because we also expect to see the Classic 350, the Bullet 350, and maybe even the Goan Classic 350 receive a mild update this year with the inclusion of a slip assist clutch. Moving on, we get to Suzuki, and 2026 could be the year that we see some long overdue motorcycle updates from this Japanese brand. The big news from Suzuki is that it's working on new-gen Gixxers for both the 150 and 250cc models. Details are scarce at the moment, but these bikes should go on sale in the second half of the year. As for big bikes, the ever-popular Hayabusa was updated internationally with some new electronic features, and this version should be launched here as well. Apart from that, the Avensis and Bergman scooters could also be updated in a similar fashion to what was seen with the new Access in 2025. 2025 was an absolute blockbuster for TVS, and 2026 will be more of a consolidation year. However, we will still see some launches from this company. TVS will have a relatively slower 2026 in India, and the focus will be on scaling up recent launches, which include the Ntorq 150, the Orbiter EV, the Apache RTX, and the upcoming Norton products. That being said, a big refresh for the popular Jupiter 125 is likely this year, and it should follow the same design language that you'll see on the new Jupiter 110. The company may also launch the Jupiter CNG in 2026 if it feels that there is sufficient demand, although the Bajaj Freedom's faltering sales numbers may suggest otherwise. And finally, that brings us to our last manufacturer on this list, and that means that it's time to ask the question, will we be saying yes Yamaha in 2026? If you've been expecting 2 and 3 cylinder big bikes from Yamaha this year, then you'll probably be disappointed. But thankfully, the company does have quite a lot of action planned for 2026. The main one will be a long overdue step up from the Yamaha R15 in a bike called the R2. Yamaha has patented the R2 name in India, and we have learned that this bike will use a new engine expected to be around 200cc or slightly higher, and that it will be positioned above the R15. Expect to see the new R2 go on sale in time for the festive season of 2026. As far as scooters go, we should see the Yamaha NMAX 155 go on sale either by the end of this year or in early 2027. The NMAX is based on the same platform as the Aerox but promises more comfort and practicality. And that's a wrap on the list of upcoming two-wheeler launches that we can tell you about at the moment. But we will have a separate video following this one on all the electric two-wheeler EVs that you can expect to see go on sale this year, so keep an eye out for that as well.